Hello, folks. I am going to test out today using DocsBot.AI. So I thought I would kick up a quick screen share here for some of that. It's been a while since I've live streamed, and I want to get better at doing this on the regular. So that said, let's jump in and I will do a screen share. Let's go with share my screen. It's been a little bit. And yeah, I'll let you see my whole screen, but I'm going to quickly turn off my notifications. So here we go, getting set up. A little rusty on doing this. Let's say that I am in do not disturb mode while I share this. So here we go. Leave some comments on the side if you would like to do so. I will try to answer them as we go. So checking out DocsBot.AI, right? This came on my radar because it integrates the content that comes from the WordPress docs and training teams. These teams create the materials that go to WordPress.org/ what do we say? Documentation articles. That's the new home as we're migrating things. If we just look at WordPress.org/documentation, you get an overview of the new design for a lot of these things. Our support guides are listed here. So if I need help getting around the basics of the dashboard or some things like that, I could see all of the articles are here and say, show me this article. Likewise, we have developer.wordpress.org that has articles there as well that is about to undergo the redesign treatment. And then finally, so we have lots of articles that are in here about all sorts of things, how to get started doing all of these things. But finally, then we also have the content on learn.wordpress.org. And here you could find lesson plans that are good for meetup organizers or teachers to use. You could find tutorials, which are short form videos about a specific topic. You could find courses that are more of a long form deep study into things. And then down below, you also could see upcoming online workshops. And so those are events like Zoom and Meetup together that happen. And so if we go into these lesson plans areas, I could say, go into this, right? And so then I start getting, it might be a page or two until I get into the ones that are about like additional in English because they're showing sequentially right now. So DocsBot.AI promises to fetch articles that are related to that. Technically just launched today, so I thought I would jump in and give it a test. So I'm going to create my own DocsBot. Trying out the new background music that you hear here with the video. So I'm going to say, yep, let's sign in. Oh, I have to agree to sign up with Google. Sure, let's sign up with my Google. And loading. I like having background music. That does work on other sites. All right, first thing that I see. Create a new DocsBot. Fill in the information below to create your DocsBot. Once you've created, you can add source documentation and then content and start chatting. What would I like to call it? Let's call it Help Me, because that's a great title and that's optional. So I'm just not going to fill in the optional. Add my key. Alrighty. Can I move this modal off screen? I can't. So you know what? We're going to pause share for just a moment while I go get my API key, because I don't think you all need my API key. I've created so many of these API keys that I had to start clearing them out and coming back to them. And then finally I decided, oh yeah, I should store this somewhere secure. Yeah, there we go. Yep. All right. So now let's make sure I close the sensitive files while I'm screen sharing. Go back to present my screen. Yeah, thanks. And I want to do entire screen 2. Sure. Here we go. Alrighty. So what I see is that as soon as I get there, I have a couple destinations. All I did was put in that API key. I can add in some sources, upload documents, a CSV file, WordPress, and a sitemap. RSS feed would be amazing. So right away, that's the thing that I am thinking about is like, can I get the RSS feeds from some of these things? All right. Answer from content from a single web page, document, WordPress, sitemap, CSV. Upload an XML export of your content. Okay. So let's see what the prices are for that. $19 for that one. At the hobby level, that can be really compelling for folks that want to train an AI on the content they've already written on their own sites. We'll go with a URL, single web page to learn from, could be a blog post, a news article, etc. Let's go get github.com/ on my site. I have the sites that I write on often. So here's one that I've written. Let's go to this, and I could see that I wrote this article. So in order to, I'll copy this link and then come back over to my bots and say, here's the source of something that I wrote. And that's optional, so I'm not going to do that. Add a new source. Let's give it another URL because that's the free thing to do. Let's go back, and it can learn from my State of the Word and WordCamp Asia sources. Sure, why not? Giving it all these sources that I've written. Now, the RSS would actually be really compelling because there are 4 different sites that I tend to write on. So I could give it 4 or 5 RSS feeds and say, here are the places that I write the most. And let's include those, right? There's my second source. New source, URL. We need, that's WordCamp Asia. Okay, other places that Courtney writes some stuff. Let's go to the training team, post status, and then pull something off my own site. It's been a little bit since I've written on my own site, so it's a little lower in my book review. There we go. That's what I wrote. All right, so I wrote this thing. Let's go to something else I wrote before this. Yeah, when I was writing the team meetings. Haven't written one since December. Thank you, additional team reps. So I will put in that as a URL. So we're training it on things that I wrote. So we'll see how this goes. Here is something that I wrote as well. And let's say that. Add a source. I don't know if we have any limits. That'd be funny to find out. And I often write these roundups about, I am so deep in the WordPress space. Let's see. There we go. The field guide dev notes edition of post status weekly roundup about all things from all the WordPress teams. Okay, cool. So documents, you might want to like upload your resume or all kinds of things. But I see that it's got 5-6 sources now and some indexed pages. So that's cool. That one has some basic info of what I've done. Got my sources. Chat. Let's see what chat does. How can I help you? Ask me full questions. I'm not a search engine. Tell me how to respond, like with code examples or as a list or as a table. Okay. What can I ask it to say? You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to cheat and go to my chat AI and get it to write prompt engineer. Write a prompt about writing a prompt. Yeah. My first title is, give me a prompt only. So I'm asking ChatGPT to help me write the prompt. That's what's going on here. So I might want to say, my first title is WordPress release lead. My first title is WordPress release lead. So that's what's on my brain a lot these days, is about people that are release leads, because I've just been into the WordPress release lead. So here's the prompt. As WordPress release lead, provide the correct pronunciations. No, that's a bad one. Let's try and regenerate that. I don't like that one. As release lead. Not pronounce. Why? Pronunciation. No, I don't want pronunciation. Why are we getting those? Oh, because it's talking about like phonetics up there and stuff. Okay. Give the what? No. You are a release lead and you are speaking to a team of developers. Let's try this. Highlight the important changes in the next release. I don't think this is going to work because it doesn't know what's super current new features in 6.2. Well, gee, look at that, because I wrote an article about that one. What's new in 6.2, and then it's pulling some sources from here. So yeah, it sees that I wrote these pieces. By Docs. All right, so that's pretty decent. So what I'm envisioning with a tool like this that could be really compelling is if the sources for this, right? So I'm looking at this as I'm at GoDaddy, and what would be really compelling for that one is to then give in our GoDaddy.com/garage, the entire RSS of GoDaddy's garage, GoDaddy's blog, right? We're undergoing a redesign there. Hopefully we'll have something soon to share with you on that one. But it'd be really cool to lift all of the content that is here. Plus then if we go to GoDaddy.com and go to the help area, right, here's our help center. So I wonder if there's like, that's an RSS already or not. I don't even know. Okay, let's go from there to managed WordPress help. Right? Doesn't look to be RSS driven, so we would need to get a sitemap from that and import it, but it could be done. And then YouTube channels, that would also be interesting as well. Well, okay. And then let's see what team does. Team, I could work with other people. Account. So choose the plan that fits. You could downgrade at any time to get 2 free months with a whole year plan. So if I put this over to yearly pricing at hobby level, that could unlock all sorts of sources types. What I really like about the direction this is going is that for the WordPress ecosystem, you could get the official resources from WordPress itself. Let's say view bots and test. Okay, so I just went to my dashboard. Bot, yeah, so you can make a couple different bots. So that's all the bots that I've made so far. So yeah, it's got some good potential. Right, and I want to compare that to the Docs WP. Is it WPDocs.chat? Right? Is that? No, that's not it. That is the WPDocs.chat. That's the one I was after. So these are related. same developer behind it. This one is create your own bot and customize it, teach it, train it on. When I was adding all of those links, it's train it on the things that I have written so that maybe I could get it to help me write another version of that for another source. Whereas ChatGPT is a little bit different in that it is going to fetch the information from official WordPress.org sources. Train and deploy custom chatbots with this. Yeah. So it looks like they are obviously tied together. But we first saw this come out as chat WP. So let me jump down to the ask. What is not as obvious right now is that if I were to go through the circle options, it's going to funnel through different questions. So do check the circle icon. This one is DocsChat, WPDocs.chat, whereas the other one was DocsBot.AI. So DocsBot.AI is about make your own robot, whereas WPDocs.chat is about a kind of already prompted, created environment. And the sources for that are pulling it in from the WordPress official repo. So I just cycled through some of the questions. What I would like to do is maybe see a couple of different types of prompts as examples besides the ones in the circle to give me some more ideas, fill out some information further on what the additional prompts could be or look like. Give it some pretty complex ones. Know that WPDocs.chat is not going to give back code examples. Instead, it is going to give back sources of information like, here's the answer to what's the difference between a post and a page. Here's where it came from. And you can see a lot of those resources are in learn.wordpress.org, like posts versus pages. And so that's fantastic information to definitely have. And I like that it is sourcing WordPress questions from official sources. So in the WordPress products and services space, what might be really interesting is that, let's say that you've got a bunch of resources sitting out on like WordPress.org that are about vanilla plain WordPress installs. What becomes really cool is that you don't have to keep recreating those same things. You can focus your content at your company only on the things that are unique to your environment. If you're a plugin company, you don't have to rewrite the WordPress docs. It's already there and you can refer people to it. But let's say that the chatbot that's on your site to help customers, the customers are inputting questions and they are plain vanilla WordPress questions. Well, that should send them out to the official WordPress sources for that information, I think. So something built off of the WPDocs.chat could be really compelling in that regard. You can see that it says help contribute to these teams by joining those two different teams, which is great. I think that's a total fine use of the content that we're writing. So good on Aaron for doing some of those things. I was just looking down below at some more of the tools that Aaron has created. And if I go up to this top where it says let's see what create my own does. It takes me over to DocsBot. So I don't know if it's got an already created like WordPress environment one. Yeah, we'll see how that works. There are also 4 different RSS types coming off of Learn. So I should check in with Aaron if he really has all 4 of those types and how he's sourcing that info, just to see how it kind of came together in there. So far, though, I think it's got a lot of potential. It's pretty interesting. Would love any feedback that people have about any of these things. Thanks so much for jumping in with me. I'm going to jump out of this now and go do some strategic writing. Very exciting afternoon. Quick while it's quiet before my kids get home. Bye, all.